In just a few hours, we should have our very first look at that redacted affidavit. We thought it could happen yesterday. The judge punted. It will happen at noon today. This all going back to that raid on Mar-a-Lago 18 days ago. Joining us now once again to break down what we can expect today is civil rights attorney, former prosecutor and Newsmax contributor Ameer Benno. Ameer, good to see you. Here we go again, my friend. What are you expecting to see today when we do finally get this affidavit?
I think it's going to be a big disappointment, Rob. I think it's going to be highly redacted, and the information that most Americans want to see, which is what's the evidence of probable cause? Did the government reveal or did they omit certain information about President Trump's prior cooperation? Did they omit evidence about the fact that the FBI may have had dual motives? They may have, they're conducting other investigations into President Trump aside from these records. Those things are not going to be visible to the ordinary American, unfortunately.
Ameer, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg with some really interesting sound. This will be everywhere today and throughout the weekend, but he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he said that the FBI told him just prior to the 2020 election that there was going to be some story from Russia, Russian disinformation about the Hunter Biden laptop. Take a listen to what Mark Zuckerberg says happened.
The FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
Wow. So he's admitting to it. They suppressed the story. They suppressed the story deliberately to try to swing the election in Joe Biden's favor. He's saying they didn't realize what they were doing. They were trusting the FBI. Ameer, we're 74 days away from really important midterm elections. 18 days ago, the FBI raids the former president's house. Are they doing it again? Is the FBI all politics?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it has been, as Chuck Grassley said, infected. Politically infected, and completely lost the trust of the American people for, their subterfuge when it comes to the Biden laptop. Most recently, you have two individuals who were compelled to plead guilty to trafficking, they call it trafficking, Ashley Biden's diary, facing 5 years in prison for each of them. But meanwhile, somebody like Hunter Biden, who actually did traffic human beings for sex across state lines, gets a free ride on Air Force One. It's a complete double standard. They have a long way to go to regain the American people's trust.
Yeah, and the laptop, there's some parts that are the photos of Hunter Biden doing crack with strippers and hookers and all that kind of stuff. Fine, but the real question is kickbacks to Joe Biden, the big guy. That's what's in question here when it comes to the Hunter Biden laptop. Ameer,
well, wait, Rob, I'll just say on that,
sure.
And people shouldn't forget the fact that President Trump was impeached because he wanted the Ukrainian president to look into some of those criminal doings of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, which was his prerogative as a president. But when Joe Biden decides, hey, I'm going to, use the FBI to raid the home of the former president to get dirt on somebody who's going to be my opponent, most likely, in an upcoming election.
No, totally.
Nobody on the left does anything.
Ameer, can I just about 10 seconds? Harvey Weinstein, you former Manhattan assistant district attorney. Harvey Weinstein's got an appeal. If he wins this, is he out of jail?
No, not necessarily. This just means a court of appeals is going to hear his case. They don't hear every case. That's the highest court in New York. So they're going to hear it. There are some legal issues there about whether or not they sat a juror who might have had been predisposed against him. Some other legal issues. So no, it doesn't mean that. And by the way, he's facing prosecution in California for other sexual crimes. So I don't think he's going to see freedom anytime soon.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up. That caught my attention when I heard that. I was like, oh boy, is he going to get out of jail? Okay, Ameer Benno, have a great weekend. We'll do it again next week. Thank you.
You too, Rob. Thanks.